are these people?
Jessica Corbett over there. And they wanted to point out, so after nearly a decade in exile, Snowden granted Russian citizenship. While the whistleblower said a little stability would benefit his family, our digital rights advocate noted that if the Biden administration dropped the charges against Snowden, Putin wouldn't be able to use him for a PR stunt. Wouldn't that be nice?
True story.
So we'll jump right in. So Edward Snowden was among 72 foreign-born individuals granted Russian citizenship on Monday in a decree signed by President Vladimir Putin just over 7 months into Russia's war in Ukraine. Snowden, who exposed the mass surveillance practices of the U.S. National Security Agency, if you didn't know, has lived in Russia since the summer of 2013, when the United States revoked his passport while he was attempting to travel from Hong Kong to Ecuador, right? Shortly after Russia granted him permanent residency, right, Snowden announced in November 2020 that he and his wife, Lindsay Mills, who gave birth to their first son that year and a second son earlier that year, were seeking dual citizenship. So, after years of separation from our parents, my wife and I have no desire to be separated from our son, Snowden explained. That's why in this era of pandemics and closed borders, we're applying for dual U.S.-Russian citizenship. Lindsay and I will remain Americans, raising our son with all the values of the America we love, including the freedom to speak his mind, and I look forward to the day I can return to the States so the whole family can be reunited. He added, our greatest wish is that wherever our son lives, he feels at home. In a tweet noting that statement and sharing a family photo, the 39-year-old said Monday that after years of separation from our parents, my wife and I have no desire to be separated from our sons. After 2 years of waiting and nearly 10 years of exile, a little stability will make a difference for my family. I pray for privacy for them and for us all. Here's those tweets if you didn't see them with the cute little family there. Look at that. But I think he added, right, they have no, that's why in this era of pandemics and closed borders, we're applying for dual U.S.-Russian citizenship. So that was granted, right? Last Monday? At least finally. For him. So that's nice. Snowden attorney Anatoly Kucherena, I hope, I'm sure I'm butchering that, told Russian state-owned RIA Novosti on Monday that Mills is seeking citizenship. The lawyer also said that Snowden will not be forced to participate in the recently announced partial mobilization to send troops to Ukraine, as he has not served in Russia's army. Not long before Russia invaded Ukraine in late February, Snowden accused the global news media of pushing for war. Since the invasion, he has faced some criticism for his lack of comment on the conflict. Just after the war began, he said that I'm not suspended from the ceiling above a barrel of acid by a rope that burns a little faster every time I tweet. You concern trolling ghouls. I've just lost any confidence I had that sharing my thinking on this particular topic continues to be useful because I called it wrong. In response to the citizenship news on Monday, Evan Greer, director of the U.S.-based digital rights group Fight for the Future, tweeted that if the Biden administration dropped the charges against Snowden, Putin wouldn't be able to use him for a PR stunt. You know this guy, Shadowproof manager, editor Kevin Gostola said, let's be clear, Snowden sought citizenship in Russia because his government will not let him return to his home country without putting him on trial, exposing mass surveillance that systematically violated the privacy rights of millions and even spurred modest reform. Misty, anything to add?
Not really. I mean, it is ridiculous that Snowden is in exile still in the year 2022. It's ridiculous that there isn't a statue to him somewhere in this country. I'm not even a statue person, but if we're going to build statues to people, it should be for people like Edward Snowden. And yeah, I just want to make it very clear, because every time Snowden pops up into the news, here come the idiots who are like, oh, he's such a Russian. Why did he end up in Russia? Why did he flee to Russia? That's been popping up a lot lately. He didn't flee to Russia.
He
was leaving Hong Kong, trying to get to Ecuador, was going through Moscow. And when he was in Moscow, his paperwork was revoked. And so he was unable then to move. So he just got stuck in Russia. He didn't flee to Russia. He just got stuck there. And I also want to point out that if it were not for the courage and principles of Julian Assange and WikiLeaks, Edward Snowden would without a doubt be in a prison cell right now. Edward Snowden was not WikiLeaks' source. But when Julian Assange and WikiLeaks heard that he was in trouble, they went to great lengths and took great personal personal risk to ensure that he made it to safety. And they were successful in that. And not a lot of people are aware of that fact. So thank you, Julian.
So here's Kevin Gustola's tweets, in case you missed them. The State Department revoked Snowden's passport. As a result, he became stuck in a Moscow airport. He didn't choose a life in Russia, but given the choice of a life with family in Russia or an unfair trial that could result in a lengthy prison sentence, he chose his family. I feel like that's the easy choice to make myself. So Snowden, who potentially faces decades in U.S. prison for theft and espionage act charges, has previously said that he would return to the United States if he believed he would receive a fair trial. Good luck on that. A federal appeals court ruled 2 years ago that the NSA's warrantless surveillance of U.S. phone records, which Snowden exposed, was illegal. Snowden has continued to criticize years of impunity for the agency's violation of American civil liberties. So, our position has not changed. Mr. Snowden should return to the United States, where he would face justice as any other American citizen would. Ned Price, a spokesperson for the U.S. State Department, said Monday, also suggesting that the exile may be required to fight in Russia's war against Ukraine, despite his attorney's comments on the matter. The WAPO reported that White House Press Secretary Karen Jean-Pierre declined to comment, only saying that since I believe there have been criminal charges brought against him, we would point you to the Department of Justice for any specifics on this, of course.
Wow.
That's
Press
always their
secretary had
cop-out.
nothing to say.
Yeah,
That's always their cop out. Every time they're asked about Snowden or Assange or any of that
Right.
stuff, it's always, we're going to
Please see
defer
our-
you to the Department of Justice.
Yeah, please see our torture program for any questions
Yes.
you may have.
Yeah.
So, a Monday story, this is from Matt Taibbi, a Monday story in the WAPO entitled Putin Grants Citizenship to Edward Snowden. Began Russian President Vladimir Putin granted citizenship on Monday to Edward Snowden, a former security consultant who leaked information about top-secret U.S. surveillance programs and is still wanted by Washington on espionage charges. The story added, Snowden's disclosure, published first in the Washington Post and the Guardian, were arguably the biggest security breach in U.S. history. The information revealed top-secret NSA surveillance as part of a program known as PRISM and the extraction of a wide range of digital information. So I figured we should sneak that in there. Snowden is America's most famous revealer of secrets, and the way he's talked about has evolved to an extreme degree in less than a decade, showing him how quickly a story about security overreach can be flipped into an argument for more vigilance. The press, which once worked for Snowden in its proper role as a bulwark against government excess, is effectively an arm of the state now, as is shown again in this absurd episode. Meanwhile, in Russia, when asked if Putin will meet with Snowden, presidential spokesperson Dmitry Peskov reportedly said that there are no such plans. So take that.
Can we just say
what you
fuck
will.
the Washington Post and mainstream
Yes, we
media?
can.
Because they used the work of Edward Snowden, the courage of Edward Snowden, and the revelations that came out of that to make careers, to make a shit ton of money. And then they couldn't have turned on him faster. As soon as they were done with him, they now throw him under the bus on a regular basis, as they do with Julian Assange. It's the same shtick they pull with Julian Assange. They use they still to this day are using that stuff. Washington Post won awards and stuff for the Snowden releases. And now they throw him under the bus on a regular basis. So fuck them, fuck mainstream media. It can't be said enough. It needs to be called out on a regular basis. They are vile.
Yeah, I agree. Collin, anything you want to add?
Just a random thing. I'm kind of surprised that you can have dual citizenship in the US and Russia, of all places. Like,
Yeah,
I just wonder why that is, considering
Probably. They haven't. Biden forgot to write that into the rules. Probably, I imagine. You know. Anyway, fuck it. Our what is it? Something. We're fucked. Isn't that?
But I did see in the stream, in the chat, from
Hi, chat.
for the Willie Bragg show on Twitch. Look at it this way: Ed Snowden is safe in Russia and will enjoy universal healthcare when he gets sick. I mean, yeah,
can't complain there.
like,
Can't complain there. But here in this country,
We're fucked.
I agree.
Oh God.
What?
God damn it, Warren.
This one was me, I think. I think I did that one.
Oh no, I'm Revolution Mom Crab. Fuck.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I am kind of though. Yesterday I like lectured JB about taking a nap.
Right.
I'm like, I'm such a mom. God damn it. I used to be cool, you guys. I promise.
Gotcha, bitch.
I need more bitch sound effects for your show and get those set up. So we're